Hello, my young brothers and sisters of the faith. Tim and Carmen Priddy here. I hope you and your families are well, and I wish you a safe and happy new year. It is our pleasure to be with you today. In our church, the United Methodist Church, it is our tradition for the first Sunday of the new year, or some Sunday close after, to hold a special service called a covenant service. Now, the word covenant means to promise, and our tradition in the United Methodist Church started with John Wesley. I think this is a really cool tradition because just like we start our days with prayer, likewise we start our year renewing our vows, our promise to give our lives to God through Jesus Christ. I know some of you young folks know who John Wesley is because I saw a play that many of you participated in at our church. You did a wonderful job describing the early life of the man who is known as the founder of Methodism. Have you ever heard somebody called a saint? Do you know what that means? A saint is someone that lives a holy life and loves God very much. We like to learn about saints because they are good examples of how to live a godly life. Now, some saints have gone on to heaven to live with God, but some saints live here among us. Now, I've been a part of this congregation of St. Andrew my whole life, and I've had the privilege to know a few saints. Some that come to mind are Edna Odell, Brenda Counts, Harry Davis, my mom and dad, and many others. Some saints who are still with us include Dot Finn, Karen Brimhall, and Jack and Ann Brown. These are all very special people to Carmen and to me and to my family who showed us what it means to love God by how they lived their lives. Well, John Wesley was a saint too. When John went to college, he and his brother Charles met with a group of friends that wanted to love God the best way they could. They knew that they could never love God at their very best if they tried to do it on their own. So John and his friends started a little small group and started helping one another love God. They would pray together, sing songs together, and read their Bible. They called themselves the Holy Club and would ask each other about whether they had not followed God's law, and they would pray for those sins. And they worked for a long time to learn how to love God best. Sometimes people around them would make fun of them and call them names. It wasn't easy for them to follow God with their whole lives, but they did it anyway. Since their weekly get-togethers always followed the same method or pattern, they became known as Methodists. Now, John and his friends lived all the way across the ocean in England, but John felt like he needed to work on his own soul and to spread his knowledge of Jesus in a far-off land. Well, they got the chance, got on a boat, and came to America to start a little group of these Methodists here in America to help people love God. On their way to America, John's boat got into a terrible storm. During the storm, John was really scared. But he met some other Christians, Moravian Christians, that weren't scared at all. Neither were their families scared. They were holding a worship service, singing praises to God in the middle of a storm. John was so impressed that they loved God so much that they weren't even scared in a storm. They trusted God even in a terrible storm. John wanted that kind of God's peace in his own life. John was only in America a couple years because some folks thought John and his group followed rules that were just too hard. So they made John leave America. It hurt John's feelings very much to be told to leave, but he did what they told him, and he got back on a boat and went to England. John wrestled with trying to understand the peace of God he saw on that ship until one night he was back in England. He was at a Moravian meeting when his heart felt strangely warmed. He felt complete trust in Christ alone. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt really good on the inside because you knew that God loved you by something someone did for you or said to you? Or maybe you did or said something to somebody else. Well, John felt that way too, and he learned it from his friends on the boat. And when John learned that he could learn to love God more, he really wanted to. That's what makes a saint. When John had a chance to learn to love God more, he went for it. Now, the way John showed his love for God was to treat people the way he himself wanted to be treated. He knew in his heart that God valued every person the same, and that God called upon John and all Christians to share their wealth with widows and orphans, the poor and the sick, and all of those less fortunate than themselves. Although John received a good salary for his work, he did not amass any wealth. He gave it all away. It was said that when he died, all the money he had left was to pay for his funeral. That is a great example to all of us. When you have a chance to sing praise, or pray, or meet with other Christians, or help someone, you need to always do it. Because those are the times when we learn to love God best. Now, Carmen and I are going to share a little prayer together that John Wesley prayed in the form of a song. Lord, make me what you will. I put myself into your hands. Put me to doing, put me to suffering. Let me be employed for you, or laid aside for you. Lord, make me what you will. I will no longer be my own. Let me be full. Let me be empty. Let me have all things. Let me have nothing. Lord, I freely and with a willing heart give it all to you. To your pleasure and disposal, Lord, make me what you will. That was our dog Hershey.